How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about this whole Donald Trump, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Ukraine mess. Now, there is a whole lot to quote unquote unpack here, as the cool kids would say. So we're going to start from the very beginning, straight from the top, and work our way on through the whole situation. First things first, apparently there was a so-called whistleblower in the White House that said Donald Trump had an inappropriate conversation with the Ukrainian President Zelensky. In that conversation, the whistleblower says that Trump pressured the president of Ukraine to investigate Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's business dealings in Ukraine. We'll talk about that in a little bit. 1 week before this phone call, apparently Trump had blocked some military aid to Ukraine. So the media are saying, okay, Trump is trying to extort Ukraine into opening an investigation into a political rival because you got an upcoming election and he's just trying to get a leg up on the quote unquote competition. That is the general headline that has been run with all over the internet, all over the media, especially from the left and some a little bit on the right, but we'll talk about that in a minute. The reality of the situation is that, yes, Trump did call the president, and yes, he did discuss Hunter and Joe Biden, but the whole military aid package was a different story. Let's back up a little bit more. The U.S. government approved $400 million to the Baltics regional air defense. The Baltic countries include the Baltic states, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania. Of that 400 million, they're going to get 150. 250 will go to Ukraine for that same purpose, military aid. But Trump wanted to just put a pause on that because it's like, wait a minute, why are we giving them this money? The UN was set up for the purpose of protecting Europe from Russia. We're giving 400 million to these countries to protect them from Russia. If we are the chief payers or among the chief payers, why is that the case when other countries are able to pony up more money? And he said that before, so it's not anything new. He wants other countries in Europe to pay for European countries that, quite frankly, have a more vested interest in having Ukraine and Baltic countries protected. Not only is it not fair because we're ponying up either the lion's share of the money or too much of a share out of proportion with other countries. Not only that, but also, what do we really get in return? Why are we giving this kind of money to these people? For what? Now, a lot of people that I've seen have said that we shouldn't be giving out this foreign aid and supporting foreign countries. Well, this is Trump trying to review that to see if it makes sense for us. What do we get in return? Okay, that's one thing. The second thing is, why not talk to the current president who was brought in to get rid of corruption about corruption? Let's talk about Hunter and Joe Biden right quick, okay? Because this is a really big case that should be looked into regardless of whether Joe is trying to become the president or not. Hunter was on the board of a company called Burisma Holdings. If I said that wrong, let me know in the comments below. But that is a Ukrainian energy company. I think they do natural gas. He has no experience in natural gas, energy, or anything like that at all. None whatsoever. A total novice when it comes to that. But he was on the board of this company, which has a history of being very corrupt and getting paid between $50,000 and $80,000 per month. That's a lot of money for a guy who has no experience from a corrupt company in a country that has a lot of corruption in it. But a lot of turmoil as well with the whole Crimea situation happened back then when he was getting his money. Joe Biden initially said that he has not spoken about his son's dealings in Ukraine. Hunter came out and said that, yes, he did speak to his father about the Ukraine thing just one time. Now, when you say just one time, I'm thinking, okay, probably like 20, 30, 40, 100 times. All right. At this point in time, when Hunter was getting all this money, this is 2014. Joe Biden obviously was the vice president, and he was a direct point of contact between the U.S. and Ukraine. And again, if I'm wrong, you guys let me know in the comments below. He had been to Kiev like 12 or 13 times. He admitted on C-SPAN, and I'll place the video in the box below, about his actual dealings in Ukraine. Matter of fact, I'll put it on the screen right now. Check it out.
Well, I was... Not but it just happened to be that was the assignment I got. I got all the good ones, and so I got Ukraine, and I remember going over convincing our team, or others too, convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
So you heard right there that Joe Biden admitted his direct involvement with Ukraine, that he had been over there many times, asked for a prosecutor to be fired, which they did. We'll get to that in a moment. But also, he threatened to withhold $1 billion in guaranteed loans from the U.S. of A. if the prosecutor were not fired. Now, he did not say who the prosecutor was or why he wanted them fired, but it just turns out that the prosecutor was investigating the company Burisma Holdings, who was paying Hunter Biden all this money. Okay. Now, when Joe Biden goes to Ukraine and says, okay, fire this guy or you won't get the $1 billion in loans from the government, the person was fired and that investigation into the company that his son works for was dropped. Okay. So if that ain't quid pro quo, if that ain't extortion, I don't know what is. The media are trying to accuse Trump of doing what Joe Biden actually did. So if you're the president, current sitting president, right, why would you not want that investigated? That's a pretty big thing. It doesn't really matter that Joe Biden is trying to become the president now. The point is that he was the vice president when this whole thing happened, when what he confessed to actually happened. So it would seem like you want to know a little bit more about that, investigate that to see what's really going on. Now, at one point before he said the reason why the money was withheld for a short period of time and reviewed, before he said that, he was talking about that particular story. And it was like, why would I give money to a corrupt place? People are saying that was his original reason for not giving the money right away, for holding it up in review. But I think what that was a response to somebody talking about the whole conversation and bringing up Hunter and Joe. All right. Because we're talking about different things or whatever the case may be. I'd want to know what's going on before I say, all right, we're going to release that money. You put the money on hold before you talk to him. You talk to him again to get a gauge of what's going on and to see if we're going to release it, among other things. That won't be the only thing you do, but you talk to the president. You review the whole situation, look at the finances, and if it makes sense, go ahead and release it, which is what happened. Okay. He probably felt confident in his answer, and he felt confident in being able to release that money to not only Ukraine, but also 3 other countries that are right there, the Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia. Very simple. So the media, I think, will have egg on their face by this time tomorrow, because Trump is going to release the full transcript of his talk with the Ukrainian president. And by the way, I'm pretty sure that most media around the world have access to these kind of phone calls. So you're not going to say anything crazy on the phone. All right. You're not going to do that. Maybe in a private session or something like that, you would say something kind of wild or a thing that you don't want to be out there. But to be on the phone saying that, I mean, come on. That doesn't make any sense. The so-called whistleblower was able to hear it. So I think if they were able to hear it, it must not really been that important or that secret or any kind of, classified thing that would be out there in the media and damage not only Trump, but the entire country. But what do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet talking, but I think I'll leave that right there for now. And that's pretty much all I got. What say you? Do you think that Hunter and Joe were engaging in corruption? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or do you think that I'm overreacting? There was no corruption here. It's just Trump trying to drum up a thing that's not really there. Is Trump the one engaging in corruption? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. I think it'd be very interesting to see if Ukraine investigates Hunter and Joe, what they find, if they have any documents, any kind of evidence. I think what Joe said on stage at C-SPAN is pretty bad right there. I mean, I've never seen Trump say a thing like that on a thing like this. Joe put himself out there. You're saying one thing and saying something else a different time. I think Joe is not really all the way there mentally. He should just go ahead and call it quits, because once he goes down this rabbit hole of, trying to defend himself against this, it might not turn out very well. The media, of course, will circle the wagons and defend him. But when it comes down to being on the campaign trail, it's going to be kind of hard to avoid those kind of questions. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.